Hello everybody and welcome to yet another video, and this is going to be our MagPlar Gank build. So I've had a lot of requests for this one. Man of service that I have min-maxed the stats, the CP and the build in general so that we are getting some big boy gankage on the MagPlar. So I'm going to be trying to do this for every class. Obviously Magsork is done. Mag Warden I won't even bother. Nightblade is not too bad. MagPlar is now done, and MagDK we'll see. It'll probably be the next I try, but I can't promise anything on that. We'll see what we get. But this build is going to be built around using a Dark Flare Gank, and I'll show you the combo in a sec. And it's hitting somewhere in the region, if we crit everything, of 106k damage on a dummy, and on a player we could do consistently 30k on pretty much any target, and then we could do upwards of 40k after that, before Jesus Beam. So Jesus Beam obviously being another bit of that burst, and that is going to be unblocked, and I'll explain why in a second. So starting off first of all with our sets. Now this is a bit complicated, and I'll explain each piece bit by bit. So the bit that's not complicated is Slime Crawl, and we're using two Divines here. For whatever reason with the Sork build, Divines on the big pieces was stronger, and in the Templar build, Infused on the big pieces was stronger for the Templar, and for the Sork, Divines was stronger. I've no idea why, but it is. I think Overload must just scale really heavily with Magicka, who knows. But basically this is going to be Divine Slime Crawl for that Minor Berserk. Everything is obviously going to be Magic Glyphed, nice and easy there. Our next 5-piece is going to be Spinners. This is going to be spread across wherever you like, doesn't matter very much. It's going to be spread across your armor and jewelry, not your weapons, and I'll show you why in a second. And again, that's all going to be Divines. And then our other 5-piece set is actually going to be, I'm so sorry guys who thought they would be able to avoid farming this, Spell Power Cure. So Spell Power Cure with infused jewelry, a Divine's body, and then this is key, a two-hander on the back bar. Now the reason we go two-hander on the back bar is the only heal spell that I could find as a Templar that is going to be castable to get this buff from stealth is Rally. That's the only skill. Either morph would be fine. I go for 4 just because it's actually remotely useful. And that is what is going to allow you to proc Spell Power Cure for that extra spell damage. And that is the best damaging set for this. I'm sure I'll get comments about it anyway, so somebody be ready to reply to with a timestamp here. Well, every one of these sets is worse than Spell Power Cure. Soulshine, War Maiden, Axiom, Sun, Burning Spell, they're all worse. Every other set was worse than Spell Power Cure. I've no idea why, but they were. Because you would think that Axiom, Soulshine especially, would be stronger, but they were not, for whatever reason. So, Spell Power Cure is hitting our hardest on the Flare, and more importantly, it's going to buff the rest of this combo, because it's a bit more complicated than just spamming Flare. The glyph on that literally makes no difference, and nor does the trait, so don't worry about that too much. But your front bar is then going to be a Willpower Fire Staff. It's not going to be duelled. We're going to add a lot of damage to our burst by using a Fire Staff, by weaving in some light attacks in the way this is going to work. And I'll show you how that works in a sec. And that is going to be Nirnhoned, and you're going to use a shock damage glyph. The reason we go shock damage is because of the damage behind this, because of how little follows after you proc the glyph. It is not worth going for the weapon and spell damage glyph. You are better off adding a damage glyph for damage. The reason we go shock is that we can proc concussion for an extra 8% damage should we actually get lucky to get that. And with a Destro Staff, you have 100% more chance to proc that glyph, so it's not a bad uptime. So that is our sets. Let's move on to our stats real fast. What I'll do is I will get our buffs up real fast. So this is our buff stats right now. We'll do spell damage while it's going. 3.3k buffed spell damage, but obviously we also have Spinner behind that, and 41k Magicka with 1.5k recovery. It looks underwhelming. It's more than enough damage, and I'll show you the combo when we get to that. The other stats, completely irrelevant, who cares? But we are 1.5k regen, which is not bad, really, considering. It's okay amount of regen. It's obviously not going to be that sustainable, but, you know, it can help us if things get bad. We do have a bit of potential to stay alive here, and if we hit a single flare on somebody who tries to 1v1 us, they're probably fucked. So, yeah, we're good to go on that front. Again, this is a gank build. If you get caught 1v1, don't expect to win fights. This is designed to one-shot people from stealth or suffer the consequences. In terms of the rest of our stuff, you would probably want to be a vamp because we're going to have that sneak speed. And we are using, again, the Lover Mundus here. That is your best Mundus choice. And then our food is currently Clockwork Citrus. If you find that that recovery is simply not helping you in fights, then all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go for buy food because it'll do the same job. So that is that. Now we're going to show you the combo in general first of all on a skeleton, and then I'll show you it on Risey as a target. So what our combat is we're going to start into stealth. I should actually show you the skill bar first, shouldn't I? Let's show you the skill bar first. So our skill bar, on the back bar, we are using any morph of rally. I would advise for momentum, but in the end, it doesn't matter that much. The only reason that is there is for a reliable stealth proc of your spell pack cure for that extra damage. It works completely fine. It's good to go. Our second skill then is going to be channeled acceleration for that long major force duration. Again, that's castable from stealth. 10%, sorry, more damage from crits. It's always a good news in ganks. Nobody is going to not use that in any gank. It's too good to miss. Your other three skills, it's literally down to preference. None of those have any relevance whatsoever. I've just gone for a heal and purify and channel focus just for a chance to get out there. You could even, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you could slot misform here instead of one of these two skills or one of these three skills on the grounds that maybe if you use it, someone will be dissuaded to chase you. But like 99 out of 100 times, you're going to one-shot your target anyway. It's all going to depend whether somebody else is there. And then use a temporal guard as the back bar. This again is going to be as an escape, not necessarily for the protection. It's a nice little way of getting out of trouble if you are caught. You could build that up, cast it, and off you trot backwards. Front bar then, this is key. So the front bar you do not want to change. This is definitely going to be your best for your front bar. Radiant Oppression, this is the one with more damage based on your magic pool. Since we're ganking, well, we're going to be nearly 100% magicka, so you're going to get pretty much the full value on there, and that is going to finish our target off after the main combo. Dark Flare is the majority of our damage here, so we're getting up to, like I said, sort of 40k hits on target dummies, and we're going to get a couple of these off in the rotation. It hits really hard, it empowers our light attack, which is important here. That adds a lot of damage to our weave. And it is also going to put Major Defile on your opponent, which is obviously a valuable buff. Mage Light is for the extra magicka and the crit, that's obvious. Aurora Javelin is going to be for our CC, but it also gives us key passive from the Adric Spear, which is this. Piercing Spear, increase your crit damage down by 10%. So you need a spear skill. This actually hits pretty hard, so we add it into our combo, and it gives us the CC for the second flare. And then any Destruction Staff skill of your choice. Once again, I go for Elemental Drain. My reasoning being that if a target is looking particularly tanky and particularly stupid, sometimes you'll be able to cast Elemental Drain on them before going for the gank. It does reveal stealth, so it's not perfect, but you could potentially use it, hide behind a line of sight real fast, and then go for it. The reality is it doesn't matter. It's literally just there to proc your passives, and it is worth using this over dueled with a Mage Guild skill in terms of your burst damage because of just how hard this light attack is going to hit. Finally, our ultimate is actually going to be Meteor here. So you could go Soul Strike. There's no real point. They're going to die or they're not going to die. And it's that simple. To the Flare, Spear, etc. what we do in a sec. It's not really going to matter. So you're better off going for Meteor on the grounds of that extra magicka from the Mage Guild skill. Just for the extra stats. Honestly, Soul Strike was a bit underwhelming with this. I don't think you want to use that. But in the end, it's your choice. It's your build. So, let's show you this combo first of all on a dummy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in stealth. We're going to cast Channeled Acceleration to get that buff up. That's a long duration. And then we're going to cast Full Momentum and wait. Now you're going to wait until your spell pack your procs. And you'll see that in a sec when our hands glow purple. So we wait. Keep waiting. It can vary anywhere between a few seconds to very quick. Of course, when I'm making a video, it's going to be slow. There it is. There's the purple glow as you see. Pop, swap bar. And then we're going to go Flare. Flare again. Light attack spear, light attack beam. Both of those light attacks are going to be hitting almost as hard as your flare. It's a big amount of damage to add in. If I quickly show you that empowered after the flare. So flare gives me the empower, and then my light attack is hitting for 16k, 15k, 17k. Even on a player, we can hit sort of 7k light attacks and things here. It's a lot of damage to miss if you choose not to weave those light attacks. So let's show you exactly the same combo on a real target here. This guy is currently, I've got the stats in the chat, 21.4k spell resistance and 4.4k crit resistance and 28k health. So this is the equivalent of a full tank in PvP. So we stick both of our buffs up. We get our spell pack cure. There it is. Pop our pot, flare, light attack spear, light attack beam. And that's the execute. So that's how we're getting our burst. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some moron in the comments. There always is who says the following. Blobs, it's so obvious when you hear that first flare. It's not. So the way you're going to want to use this is you're going to want to cast this. Well, you're basically either going to gank somebody who's on a horse or you're going to gank people where there is action. You do not want to gank one single guy in the middle of the open because they will hear that flare. If, however, there is anything else going on, if they're on a horse, if there is a group of people fighting in an area, they're never going to notice that flare. And by the time that first flare connects, they will not react to this. Now, I'm sure somebody will complain about this in the comments. There always is. Again, if you have an issue with this, check out my previous video on this build. Sorry, not previous video, previous vodcast on my stream, and you'll see how this works. So what we did to test this was, although the target knew it was coming, we got them to mute the sound so that they technically didn't know it was coming. And when they were facing away with their sound muted, I was always, without fail, able to land the second flare before they could react. They will not react after the first flare unless they know it's coming and are completely ready for it, which is so unlikely to have. So you will definitely be able to get that flare, and the rest of it. So just going through that combo a little slower before we go on to our champion points. We cast that and that. We get our spell by Q up nice and quick. We go flare. I'll take this slow. After that flare is in the air, we cast our second flare. Then we go light attack, spear, light attack, beam. That's not beam. That's beam. So doing that quickly now, we're going to go channel focus, forward momentum, spell pack your procs. We go flare, instantly flare, light attack javelin, light attack beam. And all of that will connect in the same sort of game take, and it will hit really, really hard. I haven't yet failed with this, so it's so far so good. But let's just finish off with our champion points. Green tree and red tree, it literally makes no difference. This is completely up to you. I have not actually bothered doing anything in here. The only thing I'd advise is 76 Arcanist. The rest, you're probably going to want to stack points in Sprinter, Warlord, and Roll Dodge. It really doesn't matter. I have just not bothered changing my current Templar on the PTS because I'm still working on the build for that. Change it as you wish. It doesn't matter. Red tree is getting there. It's probably not completely alright, but again, it doesn't make much difference. If you get caught, you're probably in trouble, but you're going to one-shot anything anyway. 35 Expert Defender for light attacks, 37 Hardy, 37 Elemental Defender, 20 in Thick Skinned, 55 in Crit Resist, and 66 Ironclad is what I'm running, but it really doesn't make a difference. And then Blue Tree, this does make a difference. So this is min-maxed for the most damage possible. I've tested this repeatedly on the PTS. You will not get more than this. This is 72 Master Arms. Now, although that says 23%, and people will say, doesn't that round down? It does not round down. I have no idea why. Every other skill that we get to that percentage rounds down, but this does not. I have tested that on the PTS a few times now. It definitely gets the full value of that 23%, so that's good. You're going to get the damage there. 66 in Elfborn for crit damage, 64 Elemental Expert for direct, for the Elemental, and 48 Spell Erosion is going to give you that Pen. Now, obviously, we're using the Lover, we're using Light Armor, we're using that Pen CP, and Elemental Drain if you wish. That is one of the reasons that our penetration is so high. So, if you find that you're hitting targets that aren't resistance buffed, and you're worried about the penetration being waste, don't worry too much, because you're going to get them anyway. My only advice, as with the Overload Sword build, is if you're going for a gank on a Sorcerer or another shield stacking target, just make sure that when you go for the gank, they only have one shield up. That's all you've got to make sure. And that will be plenty of the time. It's not that often. Just wait till there is only one shield up and then go for it and you're good to go. I hope that was useful. Good luck with the build. It is a bit more complicated than the Sword gank. If you didn't see that yet, drop in a like, have a watch of that. That is called Majona. I probably pronounced that terribly, almost definitely. But yeah, I hope this one was useful for you guys. I'll see you in the next video.